All right, first on the agenda, his name is not Dan Gibson. It's Dan Schmidt.
Dan Gibson.
It's my incognito.
I knew who you were.
Yeah, and I know better too. But anyway, Dan wanted to kind of introduce himself and talk about Gibson Thomas a little bit.
Thank you. As Wayne indicated, my name is Dan Schmidt from Gibson Thomas Engineering, and I thought it was, as we start out the new year, a good time for me to welcome the new board members that I have not met before, or some of the existing members that I haven't met recently. We're used by the city as an as-needed basis. So most of the time I deal with Joe or Ann Powell. I'm offering a situation where if anybody has any concerns or questions that they want to use us in any capacity, please feel free to contact us. Our office is located just a block away, and one of the other reasons we're here tonight, we wanted to tell you, is that, if you weren't aware of it, that Gibson Thomas Engineering, we're celebrating our 100th year in business, and we've been in Latrobe the whole time. Gibson and Thomas were two gentlemen, were actually brother-in-laws. Over the years there was a Doc Gibson that worked in town here. He had his practice, and in the past few years prior to his death, he used to do the physicals for all the kids up at the sporting events for Latrobe High School. Doc Gibson's father was actually Gibson out of Gibson and Thomas, as well as his uncle. George Guerra worked for them. They were mostly a surveying and mining company. George's son, Mark, is now one of the partners. We actually have 7 partners in the firm. We employ over 150 people. We have 7 offices. We have offices in Wexford, Indiana. We just opened one in Florida. We have one in Harrisburg. But our corporate office here is in Latrobe. We've always been here. We plan on staying here. We have close to 60-some employees that work right out of our Latrobe office. We do a lot of transportation. We do a lot of what we call essential services: water lines, sewer lines, bridges, traffic signal work, things like that. So maybe what, for whatever reason we haven't communicated to you, or you maybe not aware of what we do, would offer to have an open house. We're going to have some activities. We haven't finalized them yet with our celebration, with open house with our clients and whatnot, but as a council, we're more than willing for you guys to come up, see what our offices is, see what our employees do and things like that. We welcome that any time, but again, it was more like sometimes, like I say, we work with the staff, but we don't always get a face-to-face with council, and sometimes that's not a good thing. I believe that you see a face, you know people, and we're in this community, and like I said, if you ever want to arrange something like that, we're more than welcome. But again, I just wanted to tell you that we're 100 years and we're moving forward. And if there's any questions, we're always around. I know there's been a question coming up. There's always a question about our beautiful building. We bought that building in foreclosure from Westmoreland Casualty. We didn't build that. Some architect had some better ideas, I guess, at the time. But we've painted that a number of times. And we've had problems with that. The paint won't stick to there's like an aluminized material on the gray. We've had PPG come out. We've had Sherman-Williams come out. We've actually looked at putting a facade over top of it rather than deal with the painting. The problem is when the design was done, the windows are flush with the panels. So anything we would do would create a lip, so there's a problem there. So we are still having painting people look at it, but it's not a situation where we're just letting it go. Somebody questions, with our spots that we're trying to get a Chick-fil-A ad involved with the cow, but we're trying to work towards that, and we believe obviously that we want it to look, it's our place. whether what we bought originally or whatnot, we want it to look well, but it's not a dormant situation. We're trying to rectify it. But again, if there's any questions, or if we ever, Rosie, if you guys want to come up or something, we're more than willing.
Well, the only thing, I just would like to add one thing. You know, we appreciate everything you do for this community and the long history that we have together. But I would like to personally, since you're here, apologize to you for an incident that happened a few months ago where we had a discrepancy on an invoice. Upon further investigation on my part, it was discovered that you had communicated with us that that invoice was going to be, that there was going to be additional charges to that invoice. It was, in my opinion, it was an internal issue as far as communications go. So, you know, we need to work better on our communication.
And that's why.
But I want to personally apologize because it gave you guys some unfair bad press.
It doesn't help either of us.
No, it doesn't.
And it does. And again, it's a situation. I think Wayne was just coming on. You were in transition administration, and again, it doesn't help either of us. And that's why I'm saying, if there's something to come up or there's questions, please feel free. Don't hesitate to, rather than fester or guess on a situation, call. Because we're, like I say, we're right here.
But we want to make sure that we all understand that the only people that really have authorization to employ you is Wayne, Joe, myself.
Yes.
So even if, you know, 10 people are calling you, we got to be careful about that, that's all I'm saying. We can have questions.
Questions or not? Yeah, we don't.
You're not lawyers.
Yeah, there you go. I didn't want to say that.
You don't charge by the minute, right?
No.
Sorry, guys, I was kidding. That was a joke.
So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Anybody have anything for Dan? Any questions for Dan?
Hey, Rose, I just want to throw one thing up while I'm here, and I'm not going to take too long. But one of the things we do deal with is the paving program. And I'm not going to sit here, I know you've got situations with budget constraints and whatnot, but I want to throw something out to you. When we've been looking at these roadways, recent roadways, obviously everybody tries to stretch that dollar as much as they can. The problem we're running into is when we mill certain streets within this town, when we take that 1.5 inches off or 2 inches of asphalt, there's nothing under there. When I say nothing, there's dirt, okay? In the old days, when we had a roadway cross-section, it would say so much stone, and we'd put 1.5 inches or 2 inches top of material. Well, any new roads that we build in any municipalities now, we have 8 inches of compacted stone, we have 4 inches of binder, which is an asphalt, and then we have 1.5 inches of wearing spot. We have 5.5 inches, and that's in response to the larger, heavier vehicles, the truck traffic that we see. The garbage trucks now are huge compared to 20 or 30 years ago. The fire trucks are big. Where someone 30, 40 years ago had a vehicle for their family, now the wife has a vehicle, the husband has a vehicle, each kid has a vehicle. It sees more traffic, it sees heavier, and really what we're doing sometimes with some of these skin coat pavings is we're putting icing on top of a turd. It looks like a cupcake, but it's bad underneath. And so it may look good when we pave it originally, but long term, we're not doing ourselves some justice. So we may have to revisit some of these situations and be more prudent as far as we may not pave as much, but it's built up better and it's not cracking. I was laughing when I was sitting here thinking about Ligonier Street. We paved Ligonier Street in 1991. And when we paved, we stopped down the church, we stopped in Main Street, and then we picked it up back down over on the other side of Hotel Loyal because they said, you know what, we'll get to that after we do this one. Well, Ligonier's been paved, now it's 25 years since that's been paved. And downtown was before that, so it's, you know, we're seeing some streets that 30, 40 years, and to be honest with you, that's holding up well, you know, but some of the streets we're looking at, we just got to change the way we're thinking on some of these situations because of the vehicles and the size and the weight that they're seeing. So, that's just my 2 cents.
Thanks, Dan. Anybody else? Okay, next.
The next item on the agenda is the 537 plan update. I know a lot of the council members here and the mayor addressed the 537 plan items, I believe in October of last year, relative to the consent order and adjudication as well as the cost allocation agreement. Those were documents that were entered into Unity Township and their municipal authority, our city and our municipal authority, the same for Derry. And it was hoped that Youngstown would enter into those as well. For those of you with more information on what those documents were, in 1973, Latrobe and those other municipalities, with the addition of Youngstown, entered into a service agreement which provided for joint sewage treatment on a regionalized plan, which is what we have today. Throughout time, certain portions of the system might have deteriorated and there was increase in flow. After a period of time, the Department of Environmental Protection contacted all of the municipal parties involved and indicated that essentially changes need to be made because of instances of high rain and other flows would essentially lead to DEP issues such as overflows and things of that nature. So the consent order and adjudication was entered into the parties after some litigation to try to remediate those problems, and a cost allocation agreement again was also entered into to pay for those items. All of the municipalities, with the exception of Youngstown, adopted those agreements by way of resolution through their governing bodies. The way that everything was anticipated that all of the parties would agree to all of the documents. Since that period of time, since Youngstown hasn't agreed, the different municipalities have drafted an addendum to the cost allocation agreement. So the original cost allocation agreement envisioned everyone would sign on and that all of the municipalities and their respective customers would pay their proportional share of any sort of debt that would be serviced to effectuate the plan. Since Youngstown didn't agree or didn't pass any resolutions and sign off on those documents, we have an addendum which I'd like to have the council address at the next voting session that essentially, to boil down 8 or 13 pages here, that the municipal authority, Latrobe Municipal Authority, is going to essentially effectuate the plans of the consent order and adjudication, increasing the capacity of the municipal authority to treat all of the additional waste and stormwater runoff, and do so without needing Youngstown's approval ahead of time, and that the Latrobe Municipal Authority will do whatever they need to at law or equity to recover costs from Youngstown if they decide not to pay. So that's where we're at right now.
Any questions on that?
I understand that we're going to pick it up no matter what because it has to be done, right? So then we're going to go after Youngstown for the money?
We're going to go forward with the plan, and the municipal authority is going to bill Youngstown for their proportional share. Their residents would each have that item on their bill.
Yeah, it's really an LMA issue as opposed to a city of
We'll still be
Latrobe
back in
issue.
battle like we was
Yeah.
with Unity.
No, I don't think we'll be back in a battle, because all of them, correct me if I'm wrong, everybody signed on except for Youngstown. And if it gets to a point, because there was a lot of criteria involved there, if it gets to a point where LMA feels that Youngstown owes money, then LMA will go into some kind of litigation directly with Youngstown. Is that pretty
Yes,
much
it would be-
the...
yeah, it would be-
All right, I was just making sure that's the way I understood it.
Yeah, it's on the municipal authority, it's not on us.
Yes.
Has there been any communication with Youngstown?
There has been. They were involved. I was in those meetings. I don't know. I think Mike was in them too. But they were involved all along in the meetings. Jim, Mr. Kelly could attest to that better than I.
Their position, pretty bluntly, is that they're not causing any of the problems, the overflows that are into our sewer line. Our position is, many years ago in 1973, we agreed, all of us, to address any problem as a regional problem. So that's where the dispute is. They had filed an appeal, and that appeal was recently resolved by a consent order, which basically said that they will cooperate in formulating a joint plan with the other parties, LMA and us and DTMA, etc. And they reserve their rights under the service agreement with regard to the cost for paying for this. Under the service agreement, basically, they're at about a 2% payment compared to the other entities. I'm not quite sure what that adjudication says as far as they will cooperate in formulating a joint plan. We already have a joint plan. So that means that they will sign off and then we will decide the cost allocation later. So be it that, that's fine. But the story will still unfold a little bit into the future about whether they are going to cooperate in this joint plan. But nonetheless, we're going to move forward, as Mr. Chancellor said, and because the project is initiated by LMA, they will do the appropriate billing of percentages to DTMA and UTMA and Youngstown when the time comes. If they don't pay, then we have more local remedies than having to go in front of the Environmental Hearing Board. We would go to the Court of Common Pleas. But that's sort of where...
But everyone was well represented for quite a long period of time.
They were invited, they did attend some of them.
Yeah, they did.
Not necessarily all of them. That's their choice.
Is everything finalized with Unity Township now? They signed off and everything is, they're tied into an agreement?
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay, next on the agenda is just for an FYI. We had a 2000 Ford Courier that Ann used to drive. We replaced it with the old police vehicle. So we advertised it last week on our sign, and we got a couple bids. We opened up the bids this morning, and we notified the high bidder that he was the successful bidder that the truck is his. So we sold it for little over 16. His number is 1616 and 16 cents. Where did that number came from?
16, in the year of 2016.
I have no idea, but that's his number. That was the high bidder, and he's been notified, so I'll take care of that tomorrow. Next on there is I just got notification from Dan Watson that the school district is sending their deposit in for the athletic field. So that checks on, they have to pay either $4,000 down.
Isn't that what it, upon closing or no?
No, the balance will be on,
Balance will be on
This is
closing.
a
Oh, this is,
deposit.
okay, I remember, yes.
Yeah, basically handmade. So that's on its way. We should get that in a day or two. The last one is going to probably have to be, as Jim was saying, probably a resolution. We need to replace the server. It's going to cost between $11,000 and $12,000. We've been down more times than we've been up in the last 3 weeks. Now, the good part is we just saved, John Brazili just saved us $7,000, so we're not as bad off on this as we could be.
This is an unbudgeted item.
Yes, it's unbudgeted, but I did not plan on paying for a server this year. Although, well, actually, the server's 3 years old, it's undersized. So it's not that, remember, it's going to end up being the police server. So it's not going to be thrown away, but it's just not large enough for our usage. It's a small business server, and it's too small for us. But anyway, John Brazili, we have budgeted $15,000 to go half with him on a truck. He's been able to get a very good price on it, and it turns out, our half turns out to be about $8,000. So we have $7,000 in capital that can be helpful for this.
Yeah, but I have a question. When we bought this server 3 years ago, we haven't grown that much in 3 years. Did we buy a server that was too small? I know you weren't here. And who recommended that server?
All I get is secondhand. I don't really like to do that.
I know, but, still.
Reno's telling me that he said it was too small and should have been put in. Now, did Reno say that 3 years ago? I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming that Reno's not lying, and that's what he told me. I wasn't here.
Yeah, I know.
So, I hate to throw rocks either way. I don't know. Whatever it is where we are now is in fact too small.
Are we sure we're buying the right size now?
Yeah,
And let's get something in writing, and is there some kind of a warranty associated with that or something? I mean, I can understand if we grew by leaps and bounds in 3 years.
It's going to work, or I can't say what I'm thinking of on camera.
Okay.
It's going to be the right size.
Okay.
The other thing that's grown is the police data. They're because of the pictures and because of all the visual alerts that they're using.
So we're going to have a separate server from the police?
Yes, now, which should have been probably done, which a lot of places did a long time ago. That way, if something happens with the police server, it doesn't affect us, and vice versa. I mean, like, this is a good week to have it go down because it's not payroll. But on the other hand, the police had all that issue with the murder and everything, all that information to load in that they couldn't load in until they got the server up. running again today, so it's never a good time.
Right. Okay, well, just make sure we get something in writing
Yeah.
that confirms that this is the right size server for our
Yeah.
needs.
Well, like I said, and I've got, I've seen a little bit about it, I'm not completely, I won't say that. I'll look at it. But the thing is, we knew with the problems we would have, we knew it was probably going to be coming, but I didn't think quite as fast. And again, it goes back to the capital budgeting. I really believe we need to sit down, once we start getting it with the money with the athletic fields and other things, I do think we really need to sit down with council and discuss a capital budget. Like I said to you before, we got a heating and air conditioning system that is antiquated. Joe had all but one truck running.
Yeah, we want to talk about
two
that
down.
after.
Yeah, okay, we can talk about it. That's
Joe,
all part
I'd
of
like
capital
Joe,
budgeting.
if you wouldn't mind, to give us an update about, this weekend's snowstorms, because I know what happened, because you and I talked a lot over the weekend, but you want to give a little recap for us now?
Well, basically, when the storm came in, everyone in the room knows how it hit us, fast and furious. My policy has always been to keep the emergency routes, the priority routes, the truck routes open. So what kept happening is we would get those and start into the secondary routes. We would have to go back and redo those again because of how fast the snow was coming down. So that held us from getting into the secondary routes as quick as I would like to. Then the breakdown started and did not quit all weekend. If it wasn't a salt spreader, it was one of the trucks, or it was another truck, or it was a plow. Most of Saturday, I was operating with one truck. Okay. The two trucks that happened to be 1995s were both down. We did get the other one on the road, and we were back up at two trucks. I did get the gentleman who does some of our contracting work as far as sidewalks and that. He had a truck, so actually I went with him Saturday night, showing him different places to plow, and then once again today he went to areas to plow and lend a hand and help us. We're currently, as I speak now, we have two trucks back on the road. The other one's probably going to be about a week. I mean, because we're talking fans, radiators, and things that, parts that aren't sitting on a part counter for a 1995. And just for general information, when we started about 5 o'clock Saturday evening, we finally shut it down after 47 hours straight. I told the guys to go home. Now that isn't the same guys working, but we were on approximately 12-hour shifts and rotating, 3 and 4 guys. And we worked 47 hours, then we made a commitment there to shut it down, and that was yesterday evening, and we come back in at 7 o'clock this morning. Where we are at now, I know you said quick, but
Take your time.
where we are at now is we started yesterday hauling snow out of the downtown. I simply had no place to put it if we plowed. We were going to put it in storefronts. So we worked all day yesterday hauling snow out. We're taking it down into the stadium lot with permission from the school district. We worked today doing the same thing again, getting some parking for all the downtown businesses and doctor's offices and such. And tomorrow we'll be starting to open up some more lots. The lots have been probably at about 2/3 capacity because naturally we have big mounds of snow, taking up 2 and 3 meter spaces. So tomorrow I hope to start hauling those out in order to get us some more parking.
So we made the right decision by closing the transfer station on Saturday, didn't we?
Absolutely.
In case anybody was wondering, we had to decide, we only have so many people, so, we made the decision to close the
It was a good call.
Saturday. Not that I can imagine anyone would have ventured out for something like that. So, Joe, you told me that is there a truck in the budget this year?
There
I believe there is.
There is a truck in the budget.
Yeah.
Can we gonna lease?
Well, yeah, we'll definitely do a lease to purchase. Yeah.
A lease to purchase?
Mhm.
Is that something we're gonna do sooner rather than later?
Well, we have a street sweeper that they're waiting for us to move forward on.
Think is what you say, Jeff?
No, a truck we can order, it takes time to get a truck in anyway.
Yeah.
The trouble is, you probably wouldn't have a truck for this season anyway.
No, a truck with this, unless there's something out there, you know, like a demo or something, these trucks are basically built to your specs.
So we're just gonna have to muddle through the rest of this snow year, which hopefully is not gonna be much more.
Hopefully not.
That's,
And we should have one new truck for next year,
And the other
for
side,
next winter,
another sidebar too is,
and then the
because,
second one in 2017.
oh, I'm sorry,
right?
I'm sorry.
We have one in 2017 too?
We
Are we thinking about it?
could talk about it, but again, it's part of the capital.
Okay.
I think we need to establish, we Joe and I talked about it, we need to establish what our priorities are. What's our needs, what's our wants, and et cetera, and then lay it out, talk to council, and work that out. Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but the governor, because he declared it as a national emergency or state emergency, there may be money available, we'll have to wait and see. So Joe's been tracking all the costs, because I think if it does open up to this money available, we need to have the support documents to jump on it. It doesn't really happen.
Is there any way that you could have a working relationship with the, let's say, the municipal authority? They have some big trucks in that too.
We looked into that, Jim, but they don't have the right kind of trucks. Joe and I talked about that over the weekend. They
They're
don't
not-
have the
They
necessary
couldn't
kind of...
equip them with plows?
No. We talked about that. Well, you know, I just want to thank you guys. I mean, I'm sure people weren't thrilled, but under the circumstances, you know, you kept things open and you did the best you could. And I know how dedicated our guys are, and you, and how hard you worked over these last 47 hours. So, you know, I want to thank you guys for everything you've done, and you know, we've got to give you better equipment so that you can more effectively do your jobs.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be a process. I mean, it took you a while to get here.
Yeah.
It's gonna take you a while to get away from it,
Yeah.
get back from there.
There's been, neglect has been too long, so it's time, then we gotta be smart about how we have some cash, and we need to be smart about how we spend it, and make sure we're spending it on the right things at the right time. But I don't think anybody's gonna argue with the fact that we can't operate with two 1995 trucks for much longer. And then clean roads during a snowstorm is pretty much a priority for us.
Well, sure.
The other comment I would like to make is, you know, I see the chief's not here, Boomer's not here, but, you know, I also want to commend our police force. You know, as everyone knows, we had a serious incident here with the shooting, and I don't know, our guys had, with the help of the county detectives, had everybody in jail within a couple of days of the incident. So, once again, I think they need to be commended for that hard work and dedication that we're lucky to have.
Plus, in Joe's
Was that a rental property?
That I don't know.
Might not be a bad idea to, you know, if we have continual problems with rental properties, you know.
Well, we've been
We've
talking
been talking about that for years.
Yeah, but you know what? There's been some municipalities that have implemented those, and there's now some court cases where landlords are suing municipalities based on their
Well, they
ordinances.
just, the Youngwood just won a big decision, I think, didn't they? Appeals court?
Zach, you sent me that.
Or that two stand, maybe?
Did they win? Youngwood?
I don't think that Youngwood's been challenged.
Youngwood hasn't been challenged.
But Mount Pleasant was, and they succeeded.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
and
but there's,
Pittsburgh's been challenged, and that's
Pittsburgh's
not
been challenged.
Commonwealth Court.
the Pittsburgh one's been challenged, and it's going to Commonwealth Court. So, but yeah, we still need to look at it and see what we're going to do.
And to your point with the police, I mean, Joe was telling me that, you know, there's a number of times where they helped, the police had to help get cars moved out of the way and stuff like that. So they coordinated with the store, also.
I'd like to make a comment too. I think a bigger problem than the rental, if it was a rental, I think is the drug problem that we're facing. And I think as a council, that's so important. I went to that funeral home yesterday. So many young kids there. So many. I have young kids there. Everyone here has kiddos. Like, it's so scary to see that. I think that we need to grab it by the horns and try to figure something out. We need to take an initiative from here to push it. They do so much at the school, the police can do so much, but as a community, we just need to, that's the status. I went to 6 overdoses this year.
And
6 deaths in Latrobe.
That's why I think
It's a shame.
so many of us were disappointed that the neighborhood watch didn't take on a better hold, that we couldn't get enough of the community involved in the neighborhood watch. There's no question about it, that it's a major problem, and
It's an
at
epidemic.
throughout the whole county in western Pennsylvania, and we're all certainly open for suggestions.
I know. I'd love to figure out anything that we can do.
I think the reality tour helps. There's some things that are helping, but, you know, obviously, what do you do? It's hard to come up with the final answer.
I'd like to read Mr. Kelly sent us a thank you card, so I would like to read this to council. It says, Madam Mayor, members of council, Wayne Barb, and all the staff. Mr. Kelly writes, thank you very much for the reception, proclamation, and gift. Your kind words and well wishes were greatly appreciated. I will miss our lively debates on various matters, but most of all, I will miss our friendship and the laughter and camaraderie we shared. Thanks again, Jim Kelly. Thanks, Jim.
It was meant.
I can tell. We can tell. What else you guys got?
Rosie, on this last one, your replacement of the server, $112,000. Do we have a contract with somebody, or is this something we $112,000?
It's a sole source, and we do have an agreement with the provider that we've been using. We don't have to build it out because it is sole source.
But we have looked for alternatives.
Yeah, I've looked at a number of them, and unfortunately, the closest I came was a company in Greensburg. They wanted over $20,000 with no hardware purpose.
So that's what I was looking for, Lance. We looked around.
Yeah, I mean, you'll know, I tend to be kind of a little bit on the sneaky side. Yeah, and I tend to look.
That's good.
You know, and unfortunately, more fortunately, I mean, they're a local company, which is fortunate. Every time I've compared, we just bought 2 laptops from them, and they were half what everybody else was.
What company is it?
That's Bunch.
I mean, obviously, if we can stay local, if we can stay local, we'd like to, but we have to balance that out with cost. So if we were able to find something that was substantially less expensive, you know, we certainly would entertain that, but they do give us great service.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be the big test with this server. Once this gets up and running, we don't have any problems. And I don't think we will, but, you know, let's hope.
Something that will last.
The mics aren't
Yeah.
working, so don't worry
We
about
don't
it.
want to,
Yeah.
you said earlier that it will meet our needs, but it'll meet our needs over the next.
Yeah, now this is the same size server we put to Ross. Ross, we had 150 employees, and it was a $15 million township. So it's going to work. I mean, same size, memory capacity and operating system. So I'm comfortable with what they're going to put in. It's just a fact that, you know, it's unfortunate to me that you hate to, I mean, it's like buying a truck. It's nice to have them, but you hate to pay for them. You know.
Necessary evil. Necessary evil.
Yeah.
Anything else? Anybody have on their mind? 5, 6. All right, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Jim, this is officially your last night.
I noticed, I noticed.
So we hope you come and visit.
With great trepidation. You know, I said to my wife, I'm not going to know what to do in the evenings anymore.
Yeah,
But,
well, I'm sure you'll fill them
oh,
out.
I'll find a way to get
You'll
some
find
back
You
in.
will.